Well, my friend Cindy Brunson, you will recognize her from her beautiful yard and her lovely Arizona personality. But she is one of the best broadcasters in our business, and she's one of the kindest people I have ever met in our business. And she's an incredible teammate. Cindy, thank you for joining us on 24 Hours Nothing But Net.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I've been a fan. I've watched from afar. Of course, I donate because that's what I like to do. But to be a part of the process is super exciting. Thanks for having me.
Well, we need you because we need entertaining and educational and fun people to be on this live stream because we've got quite a bit of programming to put around 24 hours. And I always love bringing my friends on, but also bringing my colleagues who have supported me from the beginning.
100%. I will have to advise everybody, Jon Snow may make an appearance. You might hear him bark. This is his yard, and I just get to visit on occasion.
So Cindy, you're cranking up for the WNBA season, and when we air this, we'll be, in training camp and getting ready to launch the season. What are you most looking forward to about this year?
I'm so excited here in the state of Arizona to actually bring more Mercury basketball to the fans. We've recently redone the TV deal. And so instead of reaching just under 900,000 homes here in the state, we're going to get 2.8 million fans involved in the process. The new Suns ownership group spearheading the process, divorcing from Valley Sports. And so with that, we have an opportunity to just share how special WNBA basketball and especially Phoenix Mercury basketball is to the fans here in Arizona.
So there's quite a few storylines around the Phoenix Mercury. Let's start there we could start with Brittany Griner. We could start with Diana Taurasi. And there's a lot to discuss.
The GOAT, the fossil that BG has called her now. Seeing the two of them at the practice facility, I've been able to hang out. It's just 5 minutes away from my house, so it's really cool. But just the chemistry has picked right up where it left off, so that's really cool to see. Just seeing Brittany Griner comfortable, smiling, laughing, being around her teammates and enjoying that process has just been a sight to see. And then with Skylar Diggins-Smith out on maternity leave, Mo Jefferson has stepped right in, and it looks like her team now. She is very comfortable in that point guard role. And Debbie, I don't know if you have seen Jefferson play recently. I forgot how fast she is. Yeah, she is lightning quick. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And so fast with the basketball. And I asked Diana about that, and DT says she is the fastest point guard she's ever played with.
Wow. That says a lot. With Brittany, I think people that didn't know Brittany didn't understand the person, the human. Of course, the publicity around her detainment in Russia. But if you knew BG and knew where her heart was, she has always been a gentle giant, if you will, to use the cliche. I've always found her to be that way, even when she was in college, when I got to cover her college teams. What would you say about BG, or how have you seen a change in her since she's been able to come back to the United States?
What's been really awesome to see is that she is so grateful that she's home, but she's also mindful that she's home because of her platform and because of the Mercury and the Suns being behind her and because of her wife, Sherelle. I asked her what she learned about her wife during this ordeal. She said, I knew she was tough before all of this, because she had went in impoverished homes and impoverished communities and rolled up her sleeves and got things going. But she said, I'm even more impressed with her now. I would never mess with her, and whatever she gets behind, it's going to be successful, period, full stop. So that was really cool. And now Brittany is all about hashtag bring our families home. It will be a talking point all season long for us with the Mercury, myself and my partner, Ann Myers-Drysdale, the Hall of Famer. And we're going to be the tip of the spear for that for Brittany. It'll be a talking point all season long because BG knows that she is fortunate and she wants other families to experience what she has been able to enjoy returning to U.S. soil.
And then there's Diana Taurasi. I think we're talking about household names here where everybody knows, especially
right.
what Brittany's gone through, but Diana and the legend, I mean, the fossil, I don't know if I would feel like that might be something I might not want to call her. Definitely the GOAT, like that legend and GOAT gets used a lot, probably too much, but Diana is really the definition of GOAT.
Oh, 100%. And it was so interesting to watch her in the very first practice of training camp, because she was as attentive as the draft picks. She was locked and loaded. You would think she didn't know the offense or the coaching staff. It was so awesome to see somebody with this wealth of experience and a basketball IQ that is off the freaking charts, was so engaged. And then as soon as she picked up what was being taught, then she started teaching others. And it's what separates her, in my opinion, because not only is she so great statistically, shoot, she finished second and made 3-pointers last season in her 18th season in the league. And so she brings the acumen to fill up the hoop with the IQ, and she elevates everybody around her. And to me, that's what makes her the GOAT.
Well, she's in that category now where I think is she 35, right? She's over 35, where Steph Curry is. And a lot of the records now are the over 35 records. Like Diana owns so many records before that. It's just greatness, right? Just greatness.
And Debbie, let me tell you this. Don't count her out for Paris 24. I think she's here for season 19. Looking forward to that 6th gold medal, because nobody could ever eclipse that. It's just not possible with the dearth of talent that we have in women's basketball now.
You know, Cindy, it just makes me take pause, because every day I'm training just to shoot free throws so I can do it at a high level. And I've got a couple decades on Diana, but I'm looking at what she's been able to do to preserve her body and to keep herself at such a high level. What do you think are her secrets that you would share with me as I'm in the driveway when I'm going to need some inspiration deep into the night?
I think Diana just loves to prove people wrong. You know, she loves when people doubt or say the age thing or, you know, jokes about fossil. She wants to prove people wrong. And she looks to folks like LeBron, who continue to do it at a very high level, now in his 20th year in the league. She's special. And what makes her even more dynamic now, I think, is the fact that she's a mom, right? She was talking about organizing Leo's practices and games around her practice schedule, which was just charming and so cool to see.
Yeah, that is fascinating to see the transition from being, you know, great to being a mom and having to do some of the things that Leo doesn't care how many trophies or championships she's won.
Nope.
It's really interesting to watch her in that new dynamic, well, along with her wife, Penny Taylor. So, Cindy, give us a little bit about your journey, because I admired you for such a long time. You were a Sports Center anchor at ESPN, and then you made some career decisions along with your husband that sort of changed your path. And then I look at you as an incredible grinder. I mean, you have worked and worked and worked to get back on a platform, not just a television platform, but to get yourself and your family on a platform where you can share the important things in your life.
Oh, you're sweet to say that, Debbie. I've just been really lucky. I met my husband when I was at ESPN. His name is Steve Berthiaume. He's the television play-by-play man for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he is why I had to move to Arizona. We decided as a family that that was such a dream job for him that I couldn't, you know, stand back in Connecticut and have a successful marriage 3,000 miles away. So I moved west, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I might do some stuff in LA, perhaps with Fox, because that was the closest big studio network deal. But then I thought, I've done that. I've done it at ESPN, and I'm not going to be able to do it at a higher level than there. So now what? And I saw my husband and the joy he was having doing play-by-play. And I thought, maybe I should do that. And then former COO of the Mercury, Amber Cox, as soon as I touched down in Arizona, reached out to me and said, hey, I know you're in town. I want you to write for the website, get us connected with the college basketball game since you were just on the college desk, because we want to create that bond between the college and the W. And then if an opportunity presents itself, I want you on the call for a Mercury game. And I'm like, Amber, I've never done this before. Are you kidding me? She's like, you know who? You sat on the set with Carol Lawson and Rebecca Lobo and Doris Burke. I've watched you for years. You know what you're doing. just sit there and, share your passion with the fans. And that opportunity that was the bug. I got bit hard and I thought, all right, now I got to figure out how to do this. I got to make this work. And then Pac-12 Network, because I had a little bit of tape from the Phoenix Mercury, one game that I did as a fill-in, said, yeah, we see the potential, and gave me the opportunity. And it's the one thing where I'm thankful that we kind of operate in a vacuum at Pac-12 Network with not great distribution, because I operated in a silo. I didn't have to hear a lot of criticism or negativity. I just got to get the reps in, get the reps over and over, and get better. And now I feel like I have found my play-by-play voice, and things are really starting to hum.
Well, I'd say, and all of that, plus we were able to run into each other in March, in the beginning of March, at Athletes Unlimited. And I know you
yes
the whole thing. What's been your experience with Athletes Unlimited, Cindy? And explain it a little bit.
Athletes Unlimited is an empowering sports opportunity solely for women. It is based on 4 tentpole sports: basketball, lacrosse, volleyball, and softball. And it's an opportunity for women to stay in the United States, play in front of their friends and family, and earn really good money and get better at their craft, all on US soil. It is the dream child of John Patricoff and Jonathan Soros, the co-founders. And those two men, going into COVID, mind you, going into the year of 2020, had this idea of doing this to grow women's sports here in the United States, and to make sure that not only was there an opportunity to play, but an opportunity to play on TV. Debbie, that was the most important facet that jumped off the page at me when I first initiated talks with you, Athletes Unlimited, was the TV deal was already in place. I knew when we were going to air. I knew who I was working with. Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoop's not terrible. So they were so buttoned up on that end, where, as you know, being involved with women's basketball for so long, some of that TV stuff can get so sketchy and helter-skelter. And these guys were on lock, and they have made the players part of the process. In fact, they've asked them to be the leaders of the process. So there's a players executive committee. 5 members, 5 hoopers decide, okay, this is what our rules are going to look like. This is what we want our captains to look like. They don't have coaches. They have these things called facilitators. It's usually player development from the WNBA or from college, or assistant coaches from the W, who are there to advise and help train these players, Debbie, to be coaches in the future. It's amazing.
Well, I experienced it because Athletes Unlimited was kind enough to have a Special Olympic night under the umbrella of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. And I got to see you. We got to, there were a lot of Special Olympic athletes that came. We got to shoot free throws with high school girls. We got to play a game with the Special Olympic athletes. And then we sprinkled in 24 Hours Nothing But Net throughout the whole evening. And Teresa Plaisance and Kelsey Mitchell selected our cause for 24 Hours Nothing But Net. So there was a genuine link to being there, and to experiencing it myself, and to getting a chance to see you. And I know how supportive you have been of Special Olympics, not just for my event, but just other things that you do that are philanthropic in your life with your husband, Steve. What are some of the reasons why you like giving back, Cindy? Because I think giving and serving are skills that we need to teach.
Well, you're really kind. I just have always been a believer of to leave things better than you find them. And in that, I've been very fortunate in my life to make a good living so that I can have the ability to write a check or 2 or 3, and I'm happy to do so. I really want to pay it forward because there are so many people who need a little bit of help. And if you just give them a little bit of help, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of shine, it can go so far. So I've always been a big believer in that. And to see Kelsey Mitchell and Teresa Plaisance get behind your endeavor, I was so excited because I knew it would lead to a face-to-face connection for the first time in way too long. So that was awesome. And then that's just a big part of what Athletes Unlimited is all about. They had every single player on the roster. We had 44 players. Every player had their own individual cause that they were playing for and that they could earn money for based on player performance. So everything is geared to not only help the player, but to be philanthropic as well. And it's just, I mean, I have to give my parents a lot of credit. My mom and dad were always like, we're fortunate and we need to help others. So that's where it comes from.
And not just our connection as friends and colleagues, but you have a connection to the state of South Carolina as well, Cindy. Describe that a little.
Well, my dad is originally from the state of South Carolina, a little town called Barnwell. In fact, a few summers ago, we actually did a little deeper dive, and there is a town called Brunson. And yeah, we stopped at the post office and everything. The deal was there was a slave owner that named the town after himself. That's where my name originates from. And once I found that out a few years ago, I decided to keep the name. My husband's like, well, don't you want to change it? What a horrible thing to be associated with. And I was like, no, because I'm winning. And that name now means winning. It doesn't, it's not a negative anymore. I'm winning. And my dad is really proud of the fact that I've carried on the name. We don't have children. So using my maiden name, Brunson, on TV is a way of continuing my dad's legacy as well. And then every family member that I have in South Carolina has gone to the University of South Carolina, I think. My half brother, his wife, their kids are now enrolled. So yeah, my ties are very deep to South Carolina.
Which is so grateful, which is so great that puts us on the map in your eyes, you know, with what we're doing here in our community and what we're trying to do in other communities to try to help raise as much money as we can. When you look at the WNBA this season, coming off of the success of the college game with the championship game between Iowa and LSU at 9.9 million fans, and there's some incredible household names that have been built through branding and television and social media and all those wonderful components that come together that create a Caitlin Clark or an Angel Reese or a Kim Mulkey. When you look at the success in March, how do we keep it rolling right into May all the way through the season?
I think just the storylines and great games, right? We're going to see great games in the WNBA. We always do. We've got a couple of super teams now with Las Vegas and New York, and which teams can compete with those two teams in particular. You don't win anything on paper. They look great right now. So I think what Phoenix is building is really interesting, especially with the component of one of the best players the league has ever seen, and BG back for her 10th season. I think what's going on in LA is very interesting. Chris Bradford is on that Trump roster, and she was a star in Athletes Unlimited, and she could really wreck this WNBA league if she puts her mind. That's interesting. Atlanta being built by the same GM who built the Aces that we see today in Dan Padover. Can't sleep on Atlanta. And Indiana, with the dearth of draft picks that they have had over the last couple of years, so much talent up and down the roster. The players that get cut from Indiana will be able to make a whole nother WNBA team. That's how much talent is right there in Indiana. And Melissa Smith just messed around and won the whole darn thing in Athletes Unlimited. Debbie, she dropped a 50 piece in the championship game to win it all. 50, 5-0. First time I've ever called a 50-point game in my career. It was freaking amazing. And she did it like it was nothing. It was like, oh, it was so easy and effortless and fun. And she's a dog. She wants to win yesterday. Like, now is not fast enough for her. So I really like what Indiana has going too. So I think to just keep it going, fans just have to keep finding the product. You know, we're going to be on a variety of platforms with Ion and WNBA League Pass, the national TV package. Just watch. We know this, Debbie, hands to God. If folks watch, they'll be fans. Yeah. So we just need folks to watch.
You know, I always say the product is the narrative. It's the product. Yes. It's so important that people sample what we have. It's so good. It's been good for a long time. Some of the rules around the game have really helped elevate and showcase that, but some of the rules have held back the game a little bit too. So the WNBA has it right. I don't know about the college game. We're getting there. Defensive 3-second call and some other things that I really like in the W that I wish would come over to the college game. But there's a lot of wonderful things and storylines about the W. And I'm going to be doing the Daily Wager show for ESPN, not necessarily calling games. So that's a little bit of a different take from an analyst standpoint, but very similar. Less travel, less work, about 3 minutes on a betting show, and that's it. I'm out. It's perfect.
And you can help people make some money.
I hope so. I mean, that would be the key, right? Why are you going to take Phoenix and give the points? Give you 3 reasons why, and then you can decide. But I feel very positioned to do that, to help the league, because I really believe gambling is the next frontier. I'm not a gambler. I don't bet on games, obviously, but I am intrigued by the line. I love following the line. I think it's a different entertainment value in our game besides the money aspect of it. Just the pure entertainment of how come Phoenix is up by 20, but New York was only given 3, and how's that going to come back? Because usually it comes back because they don't miss much in Vegas.
Right. But I still think Vegas is learning the women's game. And I base that on the fact that we had betting lines for the first time in Athletes Unlimited this season. And some of the lines were way off. A team favored by 10 or whatever. I'm like, well, let's just see how this plays out, because game to game, it just depends on, are your big dogs going to be big dogs? And what are you going to get from your bench? And the teams that can rely on their bench and can rely on home court advantage, I think are such safe wagers. That's why Phoenix is an easy bet to place, because the fans continue to show up and show out. We're second in the league in attendance last season, only behind Seattle, who opened the new Climate Pledge Arena and had the swan song for Sue Bird as well. So lots of reason to buy a ticket in Seattle. But I expect with BJ back that Phoenix will go right back to the top of attendance. So it's interesting, the different things that go into WNBA success compared to other sports.
Well, Cindy, you have always been a shining light. You have always put a positive spin on everything that you do, and you truly are a great teammate. I haven't been around many. Some people pull for you in our industry, some people don't, but you're always pulling for everyone, which is really something that I really admire and so grateful for.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing from my resume, Debbie, is working a game with you. We have to make that happen.
Let's do it. I would love to do that. I would absolutely love it. That would be so fun. I don't count Athletes Unlimited. I got a little time on you with the headset on, but that's not calling a game with you. That would be an honor to do that.
No, you're the reason why that I started asking to do men's games. I've called them for ESPN Radio, for Fox, and for Pac-12 Network, because I saw you in that space and I was like, okay, if I get there, that's another opportunity that I have to work with Debbie down the road. So thank you for that inspiration.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that, but thank you for that. That's kind. That makes me want to work harder. That's exactly how it works, right?
Right.
And, I can tell you this, Cindy, no matter what hour or 2 that you appear during our live stream, when we get done with this interview, I know I'm going to shoot a high percentage.
Nice. I love it.
Thank you so much for everything that you've done to support us from the very beginning, when nobody knew what I was talking about, and you understood the passion and the purpose, and I'm so grateful.
Oh, you're doing all the hard work. I just sit on the sideline and, point and click and do a little donation. It's easy. I got the layup. You got the free throw.
Thank you for the layup, because I'll take it. I appreciate you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Keep crushing it.